All right, ladies and gentlemen, how the hell are you? Chronic Chris of AsgardRadio.com on a Sunday fun day. And yeah, we're going a little bit early this morning. I got a cup of coffee still going here. And today we are talking to super unloaded guy goes by the name Scarecrow. And he's been around for a while. We were just talking. He was on the Mod Squad soundtrack back in the 90s. That's awesome. I love that movie. So let's get down to it. How did you first get into the music industry and what inspired you to be a musician?
Well, to tell you the truth, look at me. I got inspired by this 8 by 10 poster of Kiss I had on my wall, which my dad told me, you're never going to be that Kiss, and it never stopped me from pursuing my dreams of playing bass, guitar. My dad had a bass under the bed, which I would take out every time he had left and start practicing on it to where I can play pretty good right now. Remember playing on one string, now it's multiple.
Oh, right on, right on. Uh, Speaking of bass, just because I love bass, I love bass players. I love the bass, and folks out there, I got to show off a little bit. So back in the corner there, got the big full upright, and I love it.
Yeah, they're very hard to play.
I wouldn't know when I picked it up. The guy told me it's going to be the most expensive set of guitar strings I'll ever buy, and I kind of chuckled because I've been known to throw down on some guitar strings. But then when I priced them, I'm like, yeah. A year and a half later, I still don't have strings for it.
Yeah, the bass strings they used to be like $40 a pop, and then some of them are going down to 20.
To string that
Yeah.
up, it's going to cost me $150.
What?
That's for the
Price is like
bridge. That's for the bridge, the tail gut, and the strings.
Oh wow, wow.
So yeah. So I you were inspired by Kiss. Who else? I mean,
Um, I was inspired by many. I'm a bass player, but I was inspired by many guitar players like Edward Van Halen for sure. Have you seen my bass playing technique? I sort of play out of the box. I don't play like your average bass player. I can throw down some solid riffs, but 30 seconds of me and nobody else, I can pretty much excite a crowd. When somebody comes up like me and goes, look at this clown, and he pulls off some Billy Sheehan stuff, some EVH or George Lynch on the bass. It brings a different kind of limelight to the bass. I'm trying to keep the guitar bass players alive, gods, they're disappearing. I'm a dying breed.
right? Yeah. In the last, I don't know, 5 years, we've lost a lot of our legends, but
Clapton, Edward, the Beatles,
Lemmy,
geez. Yeah, Lemmy, geez, you can't forget Lemmy, the
yeah.
godfather of cool ass bass twist. I love Lemmy.
Well, and the reason why Lemmy was a bass player, and I love this story. He started out as a guitar player, while being a roadie for Jimi Hendrix, and he says he watched Jimmy play for about 5 minutes and realized he had no business playing the guitar, so he started playing bass.
You know what? Actually, that story applies to me as well because, I mean, I can play guitar, but something about that fifth string that goes down a fret, it always screwed up my tactic on playing guitar. So I figured, you know what? You can play pretty fast. You can do some good licks. You just stick to bass playing, and I'm a better bass player, obviously, than I am a guitar player.
Right. Hey, I'm kind of in the same boat. I got seven guitars and a bass. I can play four chords on the guitar, but bass, we can go around a little bit just because it's a little more easy, a little more fun. I wish I could get the slaps and the plucks the way Flea does down, but
Well, me, I mean, I like all that slap stuff, but so many people are doing it. And now when I got a glimpse of Billy Sheehan, I was like, where the hell does this guy come from? He puts that hairs on my back standing up. So he gives me a lot of intuition to want to play as good as him. And I had not one lesson, Chris. Never had a lesson in my life. It's for the love of music. I just pick it up, and right now, I mean, not to brag, but I'm I see a lot of bass players out there that are way better than me, Chris. But for somebody who hasn't had a lesson, the stuff that I pull off and the imagination I have, it just like it's natural. I play, and my videos on YouTube, on Facebook, are facial expressions of effortlessness.
Right.
It's nothing.
Well, and I tried guitar lessons when I was a kid, and this is what I say about lessons. For some people, they're a good thing. They can pick up and they can understand. For a guy like me, if I go to guitar lessons, they're teaching me the way they play, and I can't do that. I have to learn to play my way.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Same here. Same here. Now, I used to play. I'm getting back to these band things. I used to play in the band, in my own personal band, where I have three guys, me and two other guys, would play classic rock, like the Misfits did when they did Diana. They did a Magic Moment, all classic hard rock songs. No matter what, by Badfinger. Come and Get It by Badfinger. Uh, we a lot of artists I did of covers, and it was going pretty well. And band members started flaking out, and instead of making a big deal about it, because it is only rock and roll, and no sense to get mad, just go play with somebody else. So I left
Yeah,
that. I started playing with SX10. That went on for a while. I played with a band called 187, with all these abbreviation names, and to this right now, to the day of Super Unloaded, and I can't wait to get out there because this band actually has some great backup vocals. I'm sort of leaning into it because a lot of bands that I've had before had no backup vocals. It sort of brings it up a bar of more professionality in the band. So I'm
right.
really liking it, you know. And it's like, to me, it's like the classic Stones or Beatles, which I love. The music is ageless. You can't, how can you go wrong with the Beatles or the Stones? That's the core.
Exactly, man. I mean, if you can't respect the generations before us, how can you have? Well, I don't have much respect for today's music.
No, no, today's music. I mean, don't get me wrong, Chris. I like
There
today's
is some
music.
good stuff out there, but a lot of it is the same conventional bubblegum shit you hear
Yeah,
everywhere else. Uh,
unfortunately,
uh,
unfortunately.
yeah, every week I do a top 20 show, and I won't say no name of a band, but there's a band currently on the top 20 that the song sounds like every other song they have ever made. No, it's not Nickelback, surprisingly.
Yeah, yeah. All those bands I love, man. Nickelback, um, way back to, I mean, my originality with Kiss, of course. When you're a kid like me and you see Kiss, you're like that, Kiss
It
make it
was,
larger than life.
yeah, it was original. It was different. Nowadays, everyone's just, I can't say everyone's copying everyone else, but there's not much room left for originality. Well,
No,
there
they say
is,
that
but people aren't
originality,
looking for it.
they say originality belongs to yesterday, which is it's a fact. It's Frankie Valley. Yeah. I mean, as far as my music upbringing, I mean, even believe it or not, I even dug some of the old '50s bebop. I mean, you
Right.
know,
Hey, that's what I say. And I tell people I listen to it all. And the one kid at work, he called bullshit. And I started the day listening to Hank Williams and George Jones and went on to a little Slipknot and Metal Church. And then we finished the day listening to Tupac and Biggie. And I'm
yeah.
like, I told you, kid, don't fuck with me. We'll throw a little Frank Sinatra in the middle of there, some Janis Joplin.
I want to
Just
give uh, a shout out to one of my buddies. He's a founder of my Scarecrow page, which to me I'm pretty proud of because I'm only one man. I've had my page for 2 years, and it's not a lot, but it's okay. I mean, I'm happy with this 3,000K. I mean, 3K. It's George does a lot of work for me. George, thank you, brother. You do a lot for the Scarecrow page. I really appreciate it, buddy. Yeah.
it was and I'll say the same thing, George, thank you, because it was him that connected with Asgard and brought you to us. So I mean,
I mean, I've been trying on Facebook. I'm like there all the time. They're like, "Do you post enough?" Like, you never really can stop posting. And all the pictures, if you've seen them on the Facebook, I do them myself. I got so much
right.
time in my hand. If I'm not doing pictures, I'm not doing ads. I'm playing my bass. So
And it's funny because the one kid I work with at the day job said something about social media, and I says, honestly, I fucking hate social media.
I
And he's
hated the
like,
fact because everything's fake. Girls put
right.
fake pictures
Well,
up. It's like, I'm me. Put yourself.
well, and he's like, well, you're constantly on Facebook. I'm like, you know what? It helps the radio station, and anything I can do to help the radio station and the independent bands out there. Uh, that's why I say, at Asgard, we play the big bands. We play your Kiss and your ACDC and your Ozzy, but we also look for your independent bands like Hell's Abyss and Fuel the Fire and, Scarecrow. Or why do I keep reverting back to Scarecrow?
Actually, when I was playing in SX10, Sindog of Cypress Hill named me Scarecrow. It sort of stuck, and I used it, and I started putting the makeup on like about 2 years ago, and used the Scarecrow. It sort of stuck.
Okay. But it's those independent bands that we try to focus on because they're the ones that don't get the airplay and don't get the recognition. So I mean that's what we're trying to do at Asgard is get the bands that don't get the airplay and don't get the recognition they deserve to have it on.
Lord, I try. I try to put myself out there as much as I can.
Right. And I mean, I can say social media has made the world a very messed up place, but at the same time, I've been able to connect with and talk to people either I haven't seen in years or I probably would never talk to or connect with if it wasn't for social media. So,
I'll tell you what social media does for me. It gives me a hard shell, man, because they're mean. The new stuff, I'll tell you. When I put my bass solos on, believe it or not, I hear crickets. I don't hear no bad stuff. I don't hear no good stuff. They're like, you're good, okay. They don't get on, but just because they're not on my page doesn't mean they don't see it, And I'm constantly putting bass solos up all the time. And like I said, keep the gods, guitar and bass alive. They're just dropping off like flies, And I'm
yeah.
sort of tired of hearing the one stringers, the bass players playing with one string, following the guitar every note.
Well,
No,
and well,
I
and
like
my
a full
wife,
band.
my wife, we've been together for 13 years now, and she's seen how I was when Lemmy died, when Eddie died, and she looked at me and she says, you know what? I don't want to see you the day Ozzy dies.
Oh man, that's you know what? It's gonna happen, man. Because like
It
everybody
is.
else, when I am basketball, and I'm not waiting for that day. Nor was I prepared for Edward Van Halen to
I'm
die either.
right. I'm not looking forward to it either. But I mean, no one's immortal, and I mean,
I try to say I
I
am. I try to
I
say I am. I bring the silver bullets, but that's BS. Go ahead.
I cried a little bit when Lemmy died. I think if Ozzy was to pass away, I'd bawl my eyes out.
I did with Lemmy, and I did with Edward, and I'm sure I will with Ozzy too. I mean, if all the music that they put out to the people on this planet and all the hearts they've touched, I mean, that's priceless. All the money
Right.
we've given them for the concerts, it ain't enough. They're going to stay forever in our hearts and in our brains.
Right, right. Well, and I've been a little bit greedy about it because Ozzy said I'm retiring from touring, but that don't mean he's retiring from doing shows. He's still going to do a few sporadic. And I said, please let me get one more show out of Ozzy.
My God, you had Ozzy on this show before?
Uh, Not on this show, no. I've actually seen him in concert. I'm saying, let me get one more Ozzy concert. I've seen him
Oh,
39 times in concert, and I've had the privilege to meet him once. So, I mean, to say I want to see him in one more time, it's kind of greedy of me, but it's Ozzy. Come on.
and of course. I mean, I met people playing with Sin. I met Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons. Gene, you're great. I look up to you. You're awesome, but your attitude sucks, dude. I mean, I met the guy, and he's terrible. Paul Stanley kept quiet. I met Brian May.
Well,
Brian May is a nice guy. He stopped. He looked at me and said, "Thank you." When I told him how great I thought he was, he took the time to stop for a small fan, was like me and anybody else who would meet.
now,
Brian May is awesome. I love that
I
guy.
I do have a funny Simmons story. I was not allowed to stop and meet Gene Simmons that day. I wish they would have let me, but no. in 2007, everyone knows I was out in California for a little bit. And it was around the same time they were doing Gene Simmons' Family Jewels.
Right.
And me and my girlfriend are driving up the road one day, and we turned off Rodeo Drive and we're going through somewhere, and there's a guy standing on the side of the road holding a sign that says, "I'm Gene Simmons and I can't drive." And
Yeah, yeah,
and we
yeah. And you know
honked
what?
our horn. We honked the horn and went up and pulled off. And they're like, "Nope, you got to get back in your car and keep going." I'm like, "But I know who that is, and I just want to go shake his hand." But they wouldn't let
Yeah,
us.
yeah. Well, see, me, I was groveling under him, starstruck, and I was like shaking, telling him, "Oh, I started playing bass because of you, blah blah blah." And he was rolling his eyes, and my drummer told him, "Hey, man, this guy's just a starstruck," and I really meant, "Hey, I started playing because of you," and I was probably bleeding it out to him, but I'm sure he's heard it a million times, or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Well,
I,
seeing
I
you.
met I met Scott Weiland before he died, and the bass player from Stone Temple and the guitar player from Stone Temple. They were rehearsing at Cole Rehearsal Studio in Hollywood when it was open. I don't think it's still open, but it was
Right.
at one time.
Well, and I understand it's hard when you're meeting your idol not to get super fan. Uh, Years ago, out in California, we were walking. One day we were walking down Rodeo Drive, and I bumped into Jim Carrey, and I straight geeked out, like, "Oh my God, you're Jim Carrey! Let me tell you something." And he patted me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm just a person just like you." I'm like, "Yeah, but you're fucking Jim Carrey." He's like, "Yeah, I got a really cool job and I make good money doing it, but I'm just a person just like you."
Yeah,
So
that's very
now,
yeah.
anytime I go meet a celebrity or someone that I'm going to get
You're
a little
chill.
geeked out meeting, I think of Jim Carrey in that day, and hey, he's just a person too.
Yeah, so you and me are also in your great radio station and my underground dwelling, pushing promotion kind of thing.
So, do you have
Yeah,
any
you know what?
plans for touring in 2023?
I don't know about touring, but I know we have a lot of shows coming up, and the 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 main guy in this band, I call him the John Lennon of Super Unloaded, is Steve Sutton, and Steve Sutton has written all the songs, and he has a really good aspect on vocalizing, which I'm not really used to. I mean, got. I mean, it's like Barbara Quartet without music. These guys have great vocals, and my vocals more raspy, Peter Criss kind of. It's a task for me to get there and sing those notes, but it's working out and it's sounding really good. And I can't wait to go out and play. And if I know I just joined these guys, and I can solo, so hopefully they'll let me have a 30-second solo to to give to the audience. And what's a funny thing is when I played the UVG in Hollywood, the place was pretty packed, and there was this jealous bass player there that proceeded to throw something in my face when I was playing, and it was like some cardboard 3D glasses stuck into my face, and I sort of stopped, and I wasn't singing anymore. I just looked at the guy, and I just busted out on a solo, and he was a bass player. And after I finished the solo, everybody got quiet, and this lady says, "Wow." And to me, it's like, hey, they were all in tune on the bass playing, which is really good to me. To give them 30 seconds, Chris, and it's like 30 seconds of Edward Van Halen on bass. Where did that come from? And they sort of appreciate it. And it's only 30 seconds, not too much to really bore them.
Hell, I was gonna
Just
say I don't even think Eruption's 30 seconds long.
eruptions, I think it's a minute.
Yeah, it might be.
50 seconds.
But I
I think
mean, 30 seconds in a song, you
it's
can do a
enough.
lot.
Yeah, they tell me like maybe they might tell me for like 20 seconds of some fast taps and hammers and go into a song. That's
Oh,
what throws them off too.
I mean,
You
that's
know,
all it took. That's all it took for Ozzy to hire Randy Rhodes. He wasn't even done warming up, and Ozzy's like, "Stop."
Randy,
We're
Randy to me was just, I mean, to me, Edward's number one, but Randy was right up there, man, in his own style to boot. There's a question of who was better than who. I love them both, and I think they're both great in their own right.
as
You
far
know,
as I'll say, as far as the rock and metal, I mean, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhodes, Dimebag Darrell.
yeah. I mean, I give a little too. Like, I mean, I'm a big George Lynch fan too, just because his odd style of playing. Like I said, I take all these guitar players that I love and bass players like me, and I sort of mosh it together and make it my own.
Right.
And with his band, I sort of throw the old. I'm a big fan of Paul McCartney, so is it going to be any good bass lining? Paul McCartney and to Geezer Butler would be on my bandwagon. You know,
Right. Right.
Geezer. I mean, if you like Ozzy, you gotta love Geezer. Geezer, they all complimented each other. And
They
Ozzy, I love you.
they
And
they did
they
as
all
the
never did
original
anything good.
Black Sabbath. Yes, it was, Tony's guitars complementing Ozzy's vocals and Geezer's
Award.
Geezer's bass complimenting Bill Ward's drums, and it all just clicked together.
Yes. And the only band that I thought which sounded good, okay, when AC/DC lost Bond, they got the other guy, and he's good. Okay. And
Yes.
now when Sabbath got rid of Ozzy and they got Dio, I'm a big Dio fan. So I thought Ozzy's album with Randy kicked ass, and the Ozzy and the Black Sabbath album with a Dio kicked ass too. I love the Heaven and Hell album. Wishing Well, one of my favorite songs of Geezer Butler.
See, now, honestly, I love Dio. I just wasn't a fan of the Dio Sabbath era.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I mean, you listen to all the albums with Ozzy on vocals, and then you hear it with Dio, and it's just, I don't know, it just Dio's vocals didn't sound right with Black Sabbath's music to me, in my personal opinion.
yeah, but to me, it's like it was different, but it was still good. Just like the Roth and Hagar. I like them both. I can't
I
say I like
I I agree, and those people that want to say screw Van Hagar, I'll tell you what. Granted, David Lee Roth was the original. I think Sammy Hagar's vocals complemented Eddie's guitar work better than David's did.
yes, David was more of a showman, but Eddie, and so was Sammy. And I think what Sammy did with Eddie and to give compliments to Wolfie. I mean, though he's not Eddie, he's still his son. And Wolfie did impress me playing those live shows. He pulled off some of his dad's tricks, and he has to have something good coming from it. I wish Eddie Van Halen was my dad. I'll tell you that.
Right. So
Yeah,
yeah,
right
I
now,
I I asked you about touring. You said not much, but doing some shows.
not much
If you guys
shows.
do, if you guys do get a tour planned out, and you need Asgard Radio, we love to help bands on tour. And one way we do that is we got the rock and roll bed and breakfast. So if you're on tour as a band and go to asgardradio.com, go to Asgard Connect, and we got a whole list of people across the country that are background checked and vetted, and it's secure for the bands and musicians. We're not sending you out with Joe Crazy or Mama Superfan. But and it's people all across the United States that'll let you crash at their house, give you a nice clean bed to sleep in for you and your bandmates. I'll let you take a shower, do a load of laundry, get a good home cooked meal, so
Oh,
that
that's
way
awesome.
you save a couple bucks not having to fork out for a hotel and a restaurant.
Wow. Let me tell you about the story. When I was playing with Sinan of Synagogue of Cypress Hill, was playing in the SX10. I remember playing a very big show. Had all the companies of record companies there. Electro was there. All these people were there to watch SX10 open up for Sugar Ray at Hurricanes in San Diego.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yeah, we're up on stage. The drummer forgot a song in the mid thyroid of the song. He's we're going, Sean, Sean. He's not paying attention. My drummer proceeds to spit on him on stage. And I'm looking at him, and so the drummer spits on him. The guitar player, drummer spit off. I'm like, whoa. So we stopped playing. Shen got off the stage. The concert was over pretty much. And that was a shame, man. That was one of the downfalls of that whole thing there. That I wish that didn't happen, because we could have been on a well way to touring and everything else. Sinner was going to leave Essex. I mean, he was going to leave Cypress Hill, and yeah, wow, what a break. I mean,
Yeah,
Even Marcus
that's
Roth
kind
was
of
all like,
shitty.
"Oh, Marcus
Uh,
Roth was like, we're never gonna let them open up for us." And I was like, ah,
see,
yeah, I mean,
now, and I honestly, I'd say, if I was ever in a band, and I'm not a musician, so, but if I was ever in a band and something like that happened, I'd have to like tell the other band members, hey, just go with it. If someone starts fucking up and playing the wrong song, go with it.
go with it, yeah, man. But they didn't. And every song we played, 6 songs we played before that song, everybody was like quiet, and then started. I mean, I think if we would have played that gig out very professionally, I think we would have. I know we would have kicked ass on Sugar Ray. We have a with SX10, we had a lot more hard music. That's the breaks, man.
Uh, yeah, that's one thing you had mentioned that you got to play with Sugar Ray. How was that? I heard
That was good. We
I
played for
heard
Sugar
Mark
Ray.
McGrath's a really cool guy.
He's a great guy. It was just he liked our music also too, but we were spitting on each other. Only comical thing he could say is, "Wow, we won't ever have those guys open up for us," and which was funny. And then he started proceeded playing, and that's when they just came out with that album. And "I Want to Fly," they played that for the people for the first time live. And yeah, I'm a big
Yeah,
fan of all bands, man.
yeah, I was gonna say because that was kind of my teenage years, late teenage years was the Sugar Ray late '90s era.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
I've just always heard that he was a really cool guy, someone that I'd like to meet and hang out with for a minute. Uh,
wow. Hey, Chris, are we by any chance gonna give the audience a little taste of the old Super Unloaded?
I'll tell you what, I actually Art and Cheap Wine on Wednesday. I do Whiskey Wednesday, and it's 2.5 to 3 hours of nothing but drinking music. If the song does not mention alcohol, it does not get played.
I get it.
Stipulations for Whiskey Wednesday: the song has to mention whiskey, weed, or hump day.
Okay, I gotcha.
And last Wednesday, we premiered and talked about the Scarecrow Art and Cheap Wine.
Oh, cool. Right on, right on. Both good stuff.
Yeah, because you got the lyrics on the page there, so we kind of went through it, and I'm like, that's a good song. We're gonna play it. We're gonna keep it on Whiskey Wednesday.
Right on. Thank you so much. Yeah, I can't wait to play with these guys. All the guys, Steve, John, David, and me. It's a three-piece, I mean, it's a four-piece band, and two guitar players dual with when they harmonize. And like again, I say the vocals are great, and the music is very put together well. I mean, I went to play the Whiskey a Go Go with this other band I'm not going to mention, uh, and every band sounded every band sounded like it was a bad Pantera. And I love Pantera. This sounds terrible. It's just like a wall of distortion with a bunch of screaming. I couldn't understand the word.
Right.
So I mean, that's what they like, and they're like Ginger. I love Ginger. She's awesome, but it's
I
like it's so much you can listen to, and sometimes it's hard to listen to the words. And I'm so into tune to listening to the old Stones, and I'm not gonna tell you my
right.
age. I'm a dinosaur,
Well,
but I look very good
and
for my age.
and see, I'll agree with you. And with a lot of the metal bands, I like a lot of the screaming. I'm a huge metal fan, but at the same time, I wish every metal band would come out with at least one song that's a little bit slower.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, I mean, I'm a big Alice Cooper fan too. I mean, you can't
I
forget the
mean,
Godfather of shock rock. If there
right.
wasn't God, if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be Kiss. There wouldn't be me. If
See,
you think
see,
about
and I'm a little upset because I'm actually a huge Hollywood Vampires fan.
it.
Uh, and they're not on tour, but they are doing a show at Hellfest in France, and I wish I could go to France.
Is Johnny in that band?
It's Alice Cooper, Johnny Depp.
Hey, Johnny.
Crap, and I was just actually had it all pulled up earlier and was looking them up and reading about them, and I think I closed the page.
No.
Oh well. Oh no, I didn't close the page. Okay. Yeah, it's Johnny Depp, Jeff Beck, well, it was Jeff Beck, Joe Perry, Tommy Hendrickson, and Alice Cooper, Glenn Sobel, Matt Sorum.
Matt Sorum, I met Matt Sorum too through Sindog. Very nice
Okay.
guy too. Very quiet guy. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, also the bass player from Biohazard. Met him also.
yeah, I mean, these are all people I'd love to meet and have on the show. Especially Johnny Depp. And I've said before, if I ever was able to sit down and talk to Johnny Depp, I don't want to talk about Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't want to talk about Amber Heard. I want to talk about Hunter Thompson and the Hollywood vampires.
Yes. And Johnny, I mean, people don't know. I mean, they think he's just an actor. No, Johnny can play, man. Johnny can play. He's been playing probably before he's an actor. Johnny can
play. Johnny started out as a musician, and I believe his roommate, I want to say Nicolas Cage. I'm not 100% sure.
I think it was.
If it was or not, but I'm pretty sure it was Nicolas Cage that said, "Hey, Wes Craven's making this movie. You should go audition for." And that was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh wow, he was on it. Yeah.
And he really wanted to be a musician, but his roommate encouraged him to audition for a movie.
Oh well, he got the best of both worlds. Not only is he a musician, he's an actor too. So
yeah, he's a very talented musician.
I saw him play Norwegian Wood on the 12th string, and I was very impressed. And the Beatles, he was playing the song on the 12th string on one of the reels on Facebook.
Oh, that's awesome. Speaking of meeting people and whatnot, one thing I like to ask everybody, if you could sit down and have dinner with anyone throughout history, living or dead, and just pick their brain, who would you want to talk to?
Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen.
You know what? I had a dream, dude. It felt like I was out of experience where I was talking to Edward Van Halen in my dream, and I was nervous, but he was talking to me normal. I didn't mention any of my taps or anything because that's all Eddie, right? I didn't want to say shit about my playing, and I don't know if it was like if he was in heaven or what, because he was there, and then I was going to try to take a picture of him. And from what you understand, there's no pictures in heaven if you're there, and he just appeared, bro. I was looking for him, and I couldn't find Edward anymore, dude. And that's like, I got up and I was thinking, whoa, I was there talking just like you or me 5 feet away, and then he just disappeared. And I tried to follow him. Hey, Eddie, I do this too, and I couldn't find him.
See now, and I seen a meme a while back, and it was like the greatest meme ever, and it was Eddie Van Halen standing there holding up one of his cassette tapes, and it said, "I'll always be with you. Just push play."
Just play and play. I seen that too. Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what, dude? That's it. I mean,
he's been approached by people saying he's like all hurt, saying people say that I didn't invent the taps. Yeah. But
he didn't invent it, but he revolutionized it and made it.
Yes, and he made music out of it. Has anybody else made music out of tip tap? No. Edward was I mean, you think about all the guitar players that are faster.
There was one, and she's not very well known because this was way back in like the 1920s, 1930s, and it was a black woman named Sister Mary. And she was the original. She was in church shredding on a guitar.
Wow. That's something I've never heard of. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yes. And it said she was the woman that pioneered shredding guitar because she did it way back then. And then no one else did it for like 50 years until Jimmy came along, and then Eddie came along. And
man, Paul McCartney was talking about Hendrix, where he first played. I guess he made it big in London, right?
Yep.
So he was playing a small place, and Paul McCartney was there, and you saw him, and he said Jimmy just went a whoosh. He's like, whoa! And there was nobody there. Jimmy was playing in front of 5 people, and Paul McCartney. And the next time he played, had Jeff Beck there, had everybody who was anybody there watching Jimi Hendrix.
And now I seen one where Jeff Beck was holding a guitar by the neck, and he was near the body of the guitar, And all of a sudden he just starts like letting it drop as he's doing taps on the way down and then stops at the second fret. And it's just, how the hell did he do that?
Yeah, yeah. It's, I mean, every guitar player of this day's era, comes from Steve Vai to everyone I've mentioned, we're all, you know, in take with
Right.
Edwards' formula, bro. I mean, all the guitar players were faster than him, did not accomplish what he accomplished in his life, or they didn't know what he knew. He
Right.
was above their radar, you know.
Well, and sad that we lost Jeff Beck within the last year too, but the last album he worked on was Ozzy's Patient Number Nine.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I got it.
he was a big contributor to that one.
Eddie loved Beck. I love Beck, man.
He was just amazing.
Yes, he was. What do you talk about me when I go like that?
Right? Hey, I've done said when I go, I don't want a funeral. I don't want a celebration of life. I'm Chronic Chris. I'm the king of the after party. So when I go, it's gonna be the ultimate after party.
Right on, bro.
Uh,
Yeah, Chris. Uh, I don't know how, I hope the guy this works out very well, and I can't wait to start playing. Supposedly it can be like a month. We're gonna start mini tour, if you want to call that, around local Long Beach, shores of California. I'm a California man. I can never leave California, bro. Not permanently.
see, I grew up in the Midwest. And in 2007, I went out to California. I went out to Phoenix. I ended up following Ozfest around. And as much as I love the ocean and I loved Venice Beach and California, it was beautiful. I realized, I'm more of a small town Midwest kind of guy. I like living in a small town out in the country, but I like having the city within an hour drive, just in
Oh,
case I want to go.
right on. Yeah, yeah. Myself, I just like I don't know. I'm just sort of used to here. I think I'd be lost if I was in Germany to tour. I mean, you heard of some nightmares of people going out of their motel room, not being able to find their way back because they're not familiar with the surroundings of where they're
Well,
at the moment. So
I don't know if you heard what's his name. I'm no good at remembering people's name. Rick Allen, drummer for Def
okay,
Leppard.
yes,
Within the last 2 weeks, he's down in Florida, standing outside his hotel, smoking a cigarette,
I
and
heard they got attacked.
some drunk guy walks up and just starts beating the crap out of him. Like,
He
first
has
off,
one arm, man. That guy, what is he
first
trying
off,
to
he has
prove?
one
Ridiculous.
arm. How are you going to beat up a
Yeah.
one armed man? But the guy, and then after that, he went and attacked some other woman. So the guy was charged with assaulting a woman. He was charged with assaulting the elderly for attacking Rick Allen. Uh,
Oh wow, dude.
so
He's lucky I wasn't there. I would have had to take care of him for Rick.
yeah, yeah, straight up, I'm like, how? Why? Uh, so let me ask you this: what's the most craziest, wildest, the one thing that made you look at your bandmate and be like, dude, did that really just happen? What's the craziest thing you've seen?
Oh wow. Okay. The craziest thing I think I've seen would be you know what? I'm a very big non-fan of people stopping performance when they're playing. Okay, my thing is when I play in a band, I want to have a band member. I don't have to look at you, that you know your part, that we can do our show without me looking back and signaling you when to change. And there was this one guy, I'll just name him Zach. He was a guitar player that somehow he had so much stage fright contained in him to where when we played the rehearsal, he was on. We played live, the wall of guitar would stop. And I turn around and look at him. He's just looking at me with wide eyes. I'm like, that to me, I can't understand. In the fourth grade, I had a teacher, Chris, that had all of us dressed up with straw hats, red and white striped blazers, white pants, white shoes, with a cane, singing all the Roaring 20 songs. In the fourth grade, you had a whole class doing that. We played big places like the Fenwick in Burbank, I lost my stage fright, Chris. I don't have stage fright. I get up there and I'm like, yeah, let's go. I don't have any stage fright. So somebody like him, or who would may be a person with a stage fright, to me, I can never get over that. That only doesn't make me look good. It makes everybody looking professional. And it's like, I gotta hang up with that. That's the most worst thing that can happen to me, Chris. That there's people that just stop playing out of I don't know what fear, Peter Pan on stage. I don't know why they stop for.
Right.
That's in the mid
Well,
performance.
see, and I've never, I mean, I've been at shows where I've seen bands stop, and it's never been because of stage fright. I mean, I've seen bands stop a show because, hey, something's going on in the audience. Can someone check that out? Uh, I also was at the Maryland Manson show in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, back in the '90s, where he got mad at the audience and threw a tantrum on stage and walked off.
I
Uh,
mean, I mean, I remember being with SX10, okay, and we were touring then, and the drummer had his socks on while he slept, and we are all like bullshitting in the room while he was sleeping. So we got his sock, we pulled it up like a cone, away from his shoe, his foot, and then we lit it. And so the sock is starting to burn, and we're laughing. And the sock went all the way down almost to his foot. We blew it out, and the homeboy was still sleeping. It was funny. Yeah, he woke up like, "What the fuck?" One sock was burnt.
oh,
Looking around,
hey,
bought him some more socks.
but you got to keep it lively and play some pranks on your bandmates, or else it just gets.
As long as it didn't hurt him, it wasn't dangerous. He didn't wake up to the fact, and we were all laughing, and he was still snoring. So,
Oh, that's great.
yeah,
So,
Chris. And as far as me playing, I started playing when I was 15, Chris. And like I said, no lessons. I remember playing on one string, bam, 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 and I would put on the Knack album, Get the Knack. I couldn't play that guy's bass playing. I was just too beginning mode. He would switch a note, like, where did he go? And now I can play anything I hear, Chris. It's it's like it's something that God gave me. It's you play the bass and you be good
right.
at it, and
Hey,
you share love that way.
dude, I got a guy that I work with at my day job. I'm actually a metal fabricator, machinist. We build industrial sawmill equipment. And
Oh, cool.
one of the guys, they all hang out at lunchtime and they got a little band going on there. One guy plays harmonica, a couple guys play guitar, and I just sit there and watch because I mean, I'm a radio DJ because I can't play for shit.
I'm sure you can play.
But the guy he comes over to my house and I showed him I was kind of reading the tabs and trying to learn Slayer's South of Heaven, the intro. And I'm like, yeah, this is what I got so far. And he's like, oh, you mean? And I'm like, oh, so you already knew it. And he's like, no, you just taught me that. I'm like, I didn't teach you shit. But
Hey, sometimes
we go through the radio show and we're listening to music and doing my Asgard show. And every single song by the second verse, he's playing along with it. And I'm like, the kid can play by ear. He can pick up keys by ear. And I'm just like, how? I wish I could do that.
oh man, I've seen.
You people that have that talent, I'm jealous of you.
Uh, hey, I'm jealous too, man, because there's some kids out there, Chris, that are like a little girl. Her name's Ellen. God, she's so cute, and she kicks ass on that bass, man. And she's only like 9 years old. And I seen some drummer that's only like 7 years old, little boy,
Dude,
double bassing, playing Painkiller for Christ's sakes. I'm like,
oh,
these kids
you
are incredible.
do you want to talk about some kid bands? Oh my God, Liliac. They actually started performing on the Venice Boardwalk, doing covers.
Mm-hmm.
Like Enter Sandman was one of their covers. Crazy Train, stuff like that. But now they got some originals and stuff, and they're actually full on tour. And the youngest one, I think, is still a freshman in high school. Uh,
Wow,
and
man,
then
that's awesome, man.
another one
That's
in your
awesome.
area is Iced LA. Uh, uh, Peter Sermon's kids, and they're, I think, like 11 and 13, and they're just amazing.
Wow, man, that's awesome, bro. The music to keep growing. The kids are the future of this this topic, my brother.
Yes. And I mean, there are so many just young, talented, up and coming that need to, and that's why I say that's what I try to do at Asgard is find those bands that just are amazing and get them airplay, get them recognized.
Yes, it's a struggle these days because according to Gene Simmons, he says it, and it can't be true. He says there's not one record label that's really going to lay down a lot of money on some new coming artists as much as they did in the '70s, where it's more like everybody and their father's a rock star. Those days are pretty much done. That's what he claims. So, but
Right. Well,
I
and
don't stop this. I
and
don't stop. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, Frank Zappa said it best, and this is the other thing I like about social media is because it does give everyone a platform. Frank Zappa said, back in the 60s and 70s, anybody could go into RCA or Capitol and cut a record and get it played. Uh,
Yep, sing another can.
because there was some guy sitting back in his chair chomping on a cigar that didn't give a shit, said, well, I don't know if it'll sell or not, but we'll cut a record and see what happens. That don't happen no more nowadays. He says they got some yuppie kid in a suit and tie that thinks he knows what good music is, saying we're going to play this and make a record out of this, but not this because it don't have the right sound.
Exactly. That's been
and
happening since the Beatles, since
and
Queen, the guy who said the Beatles had nothing and they will never make it. What an idiot! Look what he missed.
well, and every genre, every style of music, you will find a listener.
That's right. That's right. Yes. I mean, hey, I play alternative. I love hard rock. I love classic rock, but there's something about me, Steven, liking guys like Tiny Tim, bro. I like anybody who goes out there and tries to do their own thing. Hey, Tiny was
Yes,
great. And
that's
he made more of a buzz than I did.
exactly. You know what? And I said something about Tiny Tim one day at work, and one of the guys, oh, Tiny Tim sucked. I says, what about Tiny Tim sucked? What made him suck?
Exactly. He was
And he went on this rampage, and I said, you know what? Tiny Tim was different. Tiny Tim did his own thing. He did something nobody else was doing because he wanted to
yes.
do it, and he found an audience for it.
Yes, a captivated television audience.
So don't
He
tell
was
me
even
it's
more
a
active.
fact. Don't tell me it's a fact that Tiny Tim sucked when truly that's just your opinion.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. I mean, in fact, I like all music from Frank
Same
Sinatra
here.
to,
Yes,
you know,
I'm a huge Frank Sinatra fan. I'll throw him off at work playing that. Granted, we are a metal and rock station, but even Jim uh, plays Motown once in a while
yes.
on Mother's Day. He does a thing for his in honor of his mother. He'd throw down some Motown tracks because his mom listened to
Yeah.
Motown. Frank Sinatra, the whole Rat Pack, Dean Martin, Sammy
Oh,
Davis
yeah.
Jr.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the world of the crooners, Bing Crosby.
Uh, and even though I have my opinion about Elvis, I still like Elvis. I don't think Elvis was the king of rock and roll. I think Elvis was the
Yes.
king of marketing rock and roll. Chuck Berry
Yes.
was the king of
Yes.
rock and
Yes.
roll.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, uh, think of just how much he's. I mean, I am a big fan of Elvis. For number one, my mother was a big fan of Elvis, and she'd always play the movies. Who didn't like the movies? Elvis always got the girl.
Exactly.
Elvis
Uh,
always sang about everything and anything.
as much as Elvis was a performer. Elvis, I'm sorry to say, he wasn't a songwriter. He was a guitar player and a performer, and he was really, really good at it. And the Colonel was a marketer, and all of a sudden, Elvis became the king of marketing rock and roll.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
Another vocalist I used to like too, Chris. If you would agree, is the old Sam Cooke. His voice is
yes,
free.
yes. Another Saturday night. First
Yeah, yeah,
song that always comes to mind, and Cupid.
yes.
I mean, and
Bang,
unfortunately,
bang.
he's one of those ones that his career, one album, and he was, he was murdered after the one album.
He was murdered at the motel when some lady tried to, or a prostitute tried to steal his wallet. He chased after her, and the guy who was running the motel shot him. Thought he was
Yep, yep,
a buster.
yep. And you know what? That's, I mean, so many musicians just had that, like Robert Johnson. I mean, one album, but it was a powerful album, and it's actually very hard to find. I had to piece it together myself, finding songs on the internet. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, just
yeah. And Chris, let me ask you, is this like how white band is this Asgard radio? Is it like
we
night
are,
night?
no, no, we are, we have listeners in 80 different countries.
Holy
Uh,
crap.
yeah, we have, if you ask Alexa, Alexa says we have 12 million listeners. Uh, our numbers over a 13-year period is probably, that, or around that, but on a given day we probably got, maybe 30-40,000 listeners around the world.
Awesome. Everybody out there, Scarekrow says he loves you all.
Oh yeah,
Have
I
you
love
heard
all our listeners.
have you heard any of my bass soloing, Chris?
The clips that you sent me, yes, I did
Yeah.
watch those. That is some mad skills, and the costume with it to go with it,
Oh
that's just,
yeah, yeah. See, Chris, I've spent many times in the lab, not playing gigs, doing my bass stuff until I got it down. Now it's time to put the clown guy on. If you're a clown, they're gonna laugh at you. But if you start playing something, they're gonna appreciate. They're gonna accept you. So
right. Well,
and me,
and that's one thing, like I give mad props to Alice Cooper, because when I go to a show, I'm looking to go to a show, the stage show, your presence, your theatrics, that's
yes.
that's all part of it. And I mean, without Alice Cooper doing what he did way back in the day, we wouldn't have stage shows like that today. I mean, a few
Yes.
years back, at Chicago Open Air, Amon Amarth, oh my fucking god, dude, they had a Viking sword fight. You know,
Oh,
I'm in the mosh pit just moshing around, and all of a sudden I hear this metallic cling, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And I look up on stage, and there's two guys fighting with swords, wearing Viking battle armor and shit. I'm like,
awesome.
"Wow!"
Don't get any better than that.
No, I mean the drummer's riser was a Viking longship coming out, and I'm, dude, just, I mean, stage presence is a lot.
It's a lot, and there's a lot of people of my friends who say it's good music. It's good. It is good music, but I tend to say, because look at this, rock and roll has a face.
Yeah,
It does. It's just not audio. It's visual too. So
right.
I say to both.
I mean,
And bands, Chris. Like I'm not gonna mention their names. I love them, bro. I love the band I want to talk about, and I don't want to down them because I'm a big fan of the crew. I'm a big fan of the crew, and people that
hey,
go on and accuse of lip syncing. Bro, I want to see a live show. I want to hear mess ups. I want to see
yeah,
imperfections. I don't want
exactly.
to see a
Now,
record. I can go.
and like, and like going back to Ozzy, I've seen him 39 times in my lifetime. I've had the privilege
Never
to,
once lip sync, right?
no,
Never once lip sync.
no, but also at the same time, he does use backing tracks. He's
They
getting up
all use
there.
backing tracks.
They all use backing tracks,
Yes,
because
from Aerosmith, they do. But I'm talking as far as just like everything simultaped and played over. I don't know what the content is.
now,
They found him
now,
over the whole band lip syncing. For according to Mick Mars, they're all radio over the concert speakers.
no,
So I
if you listen to Vince Neil, now there's no lip syncing. And I don't think Motley Crue ever did that through their history.
no, I know, but
They're
they're accusing them of it now, and I tend to not want to believe it. I could believe that with Vinnie Manilli, but not with the rock icons that I look up to.
right. I
He
mean,
doesn't have to do that.
there are cases like Milli Vanilli where it's proven that they lip synced, Uh, there was a reason for Milli Vanilli, the guys that originally sang. If you put those guys in the music
They
video,
didn't look good. They
yeah,
didn't have
yeah,
the look.
yeah. If you put those two guys in the music video, no one would have watched it. They wanted a sexy face for the video, I guess, is what.
Right. Yeah. 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 So, sort of like the video on the Blues Traveler where he's doing his harmonica and they're hiding him behind the stage and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
well, it's and bullshit like that, and I'm sorry, I call it bullshit because it is. I mean, it's supposed to be music, it's supposed to be about the music, but shit like that even happened back in the day with the Mamas and the Papas, in their album artwork.
I love them
They put
too.
Mama Cass in the background.
Mama Cass had the voice.
Mama Cass was beautiful, she was amazing, she had a voice of an angel.
She was a big girl, but she was still sexy big girl. Okay. She was still
Exactly,
sexy big girl.
exactly. I'd smash
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and geez, going back to my gear, Chris. I mean, there's a lot of people that play. I'm for one, for everybody out there listening, I'm one of proof that you can play and sound good with low end gear. I play nothing but Fender Squires. I don't play that fancy light up bull crap. I say it too. Bass light up basses, fancy, real Gibson Victory basses. I play straight stock
Right.
on affordable gear, and
Well,
uh,
Frankencaster was built out of scrap parts.
yes, yes. Eddie Van Halen's guitar. If I mean, I read up on it. The first guitar he used was a Sears copy of a Strat with a DiMarzio pickup in it, which he put together himself. And to this day, that first Van Halen album, Tone, there's not another like it.
Right. Yeah,
Not
yeah.
one.
It's not necessarily about the gear; it's about the player.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you have endorsements? What do you use?
I have zero, bro. Zero endorsements. When I play from the heart. When I play with Cinepaid these days, Chris, unfortunately, the dollar is not in my mirror. I go play Fresno on my dollar, and I go play for free, Chris, because it's something I love to do. It's something I like to do, and if people come and see me, I couldn't want to charge anybody who wants to see the Scarecrow play. I mean, music and love is free, Chris.
Right. Well, hey, I'm in the same boat with all the radio stuff here. I mean, we do this all on our own dime. Uh,
Right.
if I was to make any money doing this, I'd straight up start getting merch from the bands to give away. I would use every penny to buy merch from
Yes.
bands to give away on the station. uh,
I'm going to try to get some shirts made, Chris. And if I do, I can shoot you over some because, like I said, I don't. If I gave it anything, it's not going to be charged. I play gigs for nothing, and I do it because I love it. I don't do it for the mighty dollar. Okay,
right.
you know.
Well, we appreciate that, man. And let us ask, where can we find you on social media? Feel free to plug yourself anywhere you're at. YouTube, Reverb,
I'm on YouTube, and I'm
Bandcamp.
on I'm on Reverb with the band Super Loaded, and I'm on Facebook all over the place, bro. There's not a day where you won't find a post or a bass solo on my Facebook. It's I mean, if you think about it, it's given me no Justin Bieber accounts of people watching me, but I'm happy, you know. And
Hey,
figure this out, Chris. When I was in high school, everybody nerds can bloom. I was a big time nerd. No women wanted the Scarecrow, but now they kind of bust the door down, Chris. I can't get them off me. I got so many women who like me
yeah.
now, but not then.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, and shit, I forgot.
It reminds me I gotta smoke a fatty. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
How about you?
I already did while we were talking here, and I'll be honest. I'm chronic Chris. It's kind of part of the show.
Me too. Me too. I mean, I don't do anything else, Chris. I don't even drink. In fact, if you were talking about Gene Simmons, Scarecrow plays the bass like no tomorrow, but Scarecrow does not drive either. Never had a license, Chris. Never drove. Always had honeys to take me here and there with cars, and never had that.
I
I
can
have a clue.
drive. I just can't get pulled over.
Yeah, me being off the road is helping everybody in general, man. It's like Jimmy's on the road, get off.
Actually, a year ago, for 10 years, that pretty much people ask, can you drive? I can drive. I just can't get pulled over. But what was it? Almost 2 years ago, I got my license back, and man, that's been a blessing. Except
Oh
for,
wow, man, that's awesome.
except
That's
for,
awesome.
I can kind of talk about it a little bit now. January 24th this year, I I was at a traffic light. My light turned green. I didn't even see it coming. Woman blew the red light at 80 miles an hour and
Oh
T-boned
God,
me.
boom. Wow. You know what? That Chris, my girlfriend, I met on Facebook. Alexis Merrill, Alexis Victoria Morel, and she asked me three questions. She said, uh, "Do you have any money saved?" I said, "No." She says, "Do you have a car?" I could have said, "Yeah, I got a car. I got my license to provoke, and I got a Camaro." No, I said, "I don't have a car." She says, "Do you drive?" I go, "No." So she says, "Well, we could be friends." But to this day, she's stuck with me, Chris. So it all worked out for the
That
better.
that is
She's 2 years
awesome.
younger than I am. She's
Hey,
22 years younger.
hey, that's one thing. Back in the day on MySpace is where I met my wife. And, and the funny thing is I walked into her work literally every single day, but met her on MySpace.
Oh no! Hey man, this internet thing is a good thing. It has some bad points. It has some really good points too. You know, I met
It,
a lot of great people on Facebook. I met you too, Chris. To my buddy George Parker. Thank you again, buddy.
it does. I mean, social media, it does, like I said, it does have a lot of cool benefits to it. I've met my wife on social media. I've been able to connect with like my best friend from first grade a couple years ago. I actually reconnected with him over a Cubs game, and I was like, wow, dude, fucking awesome. Uh, but then at the same time, like there's actually a class action lawsuit going on because people's feelings get hurt on social media.
Well, you know what? You know what? I did get my feelings hurt at first because I didn't know how the social media worked. But after the years been on here, I you grow to you grow a turtle shell or this image here where I really don't give a shit. I'm sorry if they like my bass playing, if they approve my makeup, if they think and a good haters get on there and start talking crap to me on my Facebook. I used to get very hurt and pissed, but now it's just like just chalk it up with a stone and cast it. Big deal. Everybody has their opinions, Chris, and it's not one to let it bring you down or yeah, I know where you're coming from. Yeah, to all people out there, I mean, people should be more. I mean, where's the love, Chris?
Right.
Think about it. There's so much hate in this world, and it's a very small, minute percent of love in this world, actual love that people care about one another. And who's better than who? I'm better
Right.
than you. I blow you away. That's stupid talk. Everybody has something to give in rock and roll music, and everybody has a musical opinion on how they play and what they think. So
Right. And you know what? I mean, I've had people actually get mad at me because I do give my opinion about stuff, and a while back there was a specific band, I won't say names, they had put out like three or four really good songs that I really really liked, and I stress, hey, I like these songs, these are good songs, keep them coming. And then they had one, and I listened to it, and I just said, compared to the other stuff you've had so far, I think this one sucks. And that's
oh
actually how I worded it. And they got all shitty with me. And I'm like, well, it's just my opinion, dude. It's no excuse to get mad about it.
no, it's not. It's just an opinion, and geez, I mean, life is tough, man. I mean, if you're gonna crumble over just a figure of word, there's been people telling me, Jimmy, you play way too much in your bass playing. He was like, slow it down. My girlfriend won. Make a composition of the song, like an eruption where it builds up, not just a thousand notes, sporadic. It doesn't make any sense. And so, I do my solos and I try to build them up. It's good to get. It's good to feel insights from other people. It can only help you or better your situation instead of getting pissed off. Take it and constructive criticism and go with it. You know.
Right. And I mean, no matter where you go in life, especially on the internet, there's always going to be the schoolyard bullies.
Yeah, and like okay, I love the movie Three Amigos. You call that bully El Guapo. There's gonna be a lot of El Guapos everywhere. You know.
Yeah. What were their names? Dusty Bottoms.
Dust, Dusty Bottoms, Ned Niddler, and Ned Needle, and God, I forget. Lucky Day.
Lucky, yeah. Oh, yeah, that was great. Steve Martin. Yeah.
I love them. I love all that stuff. I'm not saying how old I am, but I was watching Petticoat Junction, Police Patrol, Rifleman, all
Hey,
them old shows, man. So
hey,
sad thing.
I have the theme song to WKRP memorized. I mean, I
Lonnie was the shit,
Gilligan's
dude.
Island.
I was in love with Lonnie, and Marianne was better than Ginger.
Yes.
And don't forget about Daisy Duke. God, I had so many
Oh,
crushes on women on TV when I was growing up.
so I live about an hour and a half from Nashville, and we like to go down to Nashville. And we've been to the Grand Ole Opry, and we've been to the set of Hee Haw, and uh, I got to go to Cooter's Garage and sit in the original General Lee that Tom Wopat slid across the hood in the credits.
Yeah.
But inside, I they had Roscoe's squad car and Daisy's Jeep was there, and
Uh-huh.
and
She was there too.
I had to reach in and just lay my face down on the
Oh, see?
driver's seat of her Jeep.
Yeah, we all had a crush on Daisy Duke.
Oh yeah. If you didn't,
Yeah,
you're gay.
you got that. Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
Chris. It's growing up and the music thing, dude. I'm so glad that I followed it, Chris, because I never had the gang crap, nothing but music in my life that just led me into a place of like you know, a place of like my happy place, Chris. If it wasn't for music, I can't. I don't think I can ever see myself stop playing. Famous or not. You know, you live by Nashville. I got a lead that Billy Sheehan lives in Nashville too.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
there's
he's
a
one of my all-time bass favorites, dude. I like him better than anybody. Better than I mean any even Cliff. I love Cliff, and I just nobody puts it out there like Billy does. Not one person that makes me want to run and sprint like he does, man. And he's just incredible.
right. Yeah,
I
I'm
talked
trying
to
to.
him on Facebook too.
I mean, because Nashville is awesome. I love Nashville. We went to a show. No, it wasn't Nashville. It was Clarksville. Uh, and I
Sounds
was
like so.
yeah. We took the last train to Clarksville to go to the show.
There's an
And
actual.
there was a bass player, and I'm trying to think of what band it was, but this guy, I mean, while he was playing bass, he was just dancing around and doing a whole bunch of fancy footwork and stuff, and I'm like, dude, this guy is just, I mean, he's working the stage. And it was just the
Yeah,
small
yeah.
little opener band. I think they were opening for like Texas Hippie Coalition or something like that.
Oh, Christ, man. Yeah, you know what? Some guy told me that it doesn't matter who you play in front of, where you play, how many people are there. Play it like it's a Taj Mahal. Play it like it's a Staples Center. You don't
Yeah,
know who's going to be watching. You don't know who's going to see you.
yeah, exactly. Who's
So just
play like you're at the Superdome? I
yeah,
mean,
yep, yep, yep.
hell, one day when me and my wife first met, and you say you're never going to stop playing music, I'm never going to stop listening. And I mean, some music just gets to you. It's kind of hard right now. I mean, because I want to listen to
It,
music and I want to start dancing, but I can't. But there was a
right,
day
right.
years ago when me and my wife yo, we first met, and we're actually in downtown Joliet in the middle of the casino, and some song was playing on the radio, and I just start going wild dancing right there in the middle of the casino, not giving a fuck.
Yeah, man, you get those surge of good time vibes in you. You gotta just let them go, man. And just live for the moment, you know. La 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 la. Live for today.
Oh, oh, and right now you speak of Cliff Burton and shit. It's really hard for me to because I love old Metallica, the first three albums. It's
Oh,
hard
right,
for
the
me to listen to
album.
that right now because I can't headbang.
Oh, with your neck.
Yeah,
Oh wow. Now Cliff to me, besides Billy, I love Cliff, and it actually inspired me to use a lot of distortion on my pedal wah. Like he it was sad for him to leave at such early, man. He was just starting, man. He was just getting started. He was just
yeah.
getting stuff show what he really had, you know.
And with what he could do where he was at, it's like Randy Rhoads with what he could do with where he was at when he passed away. Just imagine where they would be today.
Oh God, all of them, you know, down to
I mean,
Eddie, to him, to
I mean, even Lemmy, he made his bass sound like a guitar.
Lemmy just had Lemmy was like the ultimate of cool, bro.
He was.
Who wouldn't want to be Lemmy, man? You know, straight up biker. He didn't look like a cutesy cute guy, but everybody respected Lemmy. And boy, didn't he get a lot of. He didn't snag a lot of felt, man.
Right.
You
Well,
gotta love Lemmy, man. Lemmy just looked cool with the bass there. I mean, to me, um, he's as cool as Billy Sheehan, and not for his playing wise, but just because he's Lemmy, man.
right. Well, and I've heard when Lemmy walked into the room, even if you weren't even paying attention, you felt the essence of cool just walk into the room.
Big
Uh,
time. Lemmy had charisma
and
over.
me and my wife were talking earlier, and back when 2007, when I was out in California, I wanted to go to the Rainbow Lounge, but the girlfriend at the time didn't want to go to the Rainbow Lounge, and me being me, I'm gonna do what everyone else wants, what she wants to do, because if not, I'm probably not getting laid tonight. So we didn't go to the
Yeah,
Rainbow
yeah.
Lounge, which
Yeah.
unfortunately, and one of my favorite rock stories. I watched the Lemmy documentary, and Scott Ian says, they were all sitting there, and Lemmy was wearing his Daisy Duke shorts, and someone else said to Scott Ian, "Bet you won't say something to him." And Scott Ian walks up to Lemmy and, "What's up with them shorts?"
Oh, I know. Because Lemmy's cool. Let me go wear whatever he wants to, you know.
Lemmy, yeah, he's like, "These are shorts. I'm comfortable in these. What you're wearing? Those are short pants. Those aren't shorts. These are shorts."
Yeah, but come on, how can you say anything to Lemmy? Lemmy's so awesome, dude. I don't.
Yeah,
I think I'd be very starstruck if I met Lemmy, but God, I'd show him so much appreciation.
right. I mean, even when I got to meet Ozzy, it was at a book signing, but I was still kind of starstruck, and they were trying to push me along, and I turn around and there's my son sitting on Ozzy's lap, air guitaring with them, and I'm like, "Hold
Oh,
on a
there you
second,
go.
you
Oh
ain't
my God,
I'm
I
watching
would
my
have got
son
that picture.
here."
I would have got that
Uh,
picture. You got that
I
picture, right?
I I have the picture of it of him sitting on
Awesome,
Lemmy's
awesome,
lap or
awesome.
on Ozzy's lap, and they both got the horns up. And no, kid's got the horns up. Ozzy's throwing up a peace sign.
Oh man, yeah. Gosh, I mean, what would the world be without rock and roll, right? I mean, I think
Exactly.
other,
Well, and
yeah.
and and that's one thing. I mean, I'll agree with anyone that music is life. Your heartbeat is a 4/4 rhythm. 90% of your music is a 4/4 rhythm. So put two and two together, people.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And I see right now, Chris. I mean, let me a little riddle down on gear here. I play. I like harky cabinets. I have two harky cabinets and a carbon cabinet, acoustic head, and a nice pedal. Because I work at a LKQ. It's a pick apart, and you find all kinds of stuff there, Chris.
Yeah,
They
yeah, yeah.
have.
I worked in an auto shop for years. As soon as you said LKQ, I'm like, that sounds familiar. We used to get yeah, we used to get parts from them.
Yeah, LKQ. They people leave a lot of shit in cars. I've got a Dan Electro bass that I looked up on the internet, 800 bucks new, 400 bucks used. I found it there, Chris. I found a DOD foot pedal, ME70 pedal, which I use to this day. It like the man upstairs just hands me stuff that I can use in my arsenal to sound better. I mean,
I
and
I feel you. I mean, granted, I didn't get to work at a salvage yard like I wanted to. I wish I could have and been able to get cool shit out of cars. But I, had friends that worked in salvage yards, and I was able to get parts and stuff, but never cool shit like. But I'm a huge fan of Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and the red Epiphone signed by
I see
Vince
it.
Neil. I paid $100 for that. Uh,
Awesome.
the bass that was given to me, that
Is that a P bass?
huh?
P bass.
That's just a simple crate.
Right on.
Then the Dean Dime right back there.
Yeah. Oh,
Facebook.
Dime. No, no,
Yeah,
we're
that's
talking
the
Dime. Dime was
that
incredible too. Jesus.
yeah, that's a Dean Dime ML tribute. I
Wow.
actually had it on Facebook Marketplace to give me notifications, and that popped up. And 10 minutes after the kid posted it, I bought it for $75.
Wow.
I I talked to the guy from Dean Guitars, and I was talking to him about getting a case, and he's like, "Oh, I'd be $150 for that case." And I'm like, "I paid. That's twice what I paid for the guitar." And he's, "What kind of crack goods are you dealing with?"
Uh,
Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what's a good thing, Chris? When I go into, I mean, if you play very well and you happen to go into a guitar center like me on the day that the people are there who don't play very well, I play the bass and they sort of look at their girlfriend and they put the bass down and you walk out of the room. It's like, uh, I got lucky. I think it won't be another guy in there who's gonna like show me up.
Uh, see, if I go in a guitar center, it takes all of 30 seconds for them to be like, "Hey, we got headphones, or can
No, yes, you're great, bro. I'm sure you could play more than you got stuff up there. I'm sure you could play more than you're telling.
you," but I, but yeah, I mean, I love as much as I can't play. I just love to collect guitars, and I love having them hang on the wall and just music stuff in general.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I
that Megadeth poster that's next to the Epiphone, that actually was from a European tour, and it's signed, and there's only two of them in the United States.
oh wow, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, a buddy of mine went
That's
over
awesome.
to Europe and followed Megadeth around on tour. He was actually a VIP for the tour and stuff, and he brought back two of the posters, gave one to a friend of his in Montana and the other to me, and it got framed and hung on the wall, and that's where it stayed and where it will stay.
Awesome, awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I like I said, I can't wait to start playing with these guys. And probably, you know, hopefully by the end of the year we'll be able to hook up on a tour somewhere. Of course, it's got to be alternative. I'll let Steve Sutton. That's your job, buddy. Yeah. Um,
Make it happen. Book some venues. Remember to use Asgard Connect if you need some assistance with lodging and saving the band a buck on the way.
I will. I will do that for sure, Steve. I mean, Chris. I'm sorry. I've got Steve on my name. Still thinking of you, Steve. All right. Yeah. And so, everybody out there, don't give up. Keep rocking. And it's all there's to do, man.
Right.
Don't
Hey,
become.
that's what I say to anybody, if you want to be a musician, be a musician. Uh a while back we had a guy, oh, I can't think of his I'm no good at remembering people's names off the top of my head, but we had a guy that has been a street musician around the world, and that's just what he does because it's what he wants to do.
That's awesome, bro. Me, I
But
like I said, I couldn't stop playing, Chris. There's a I mean, you and your show, your radio show. I mean, could you ever think of yourself stop being a radio host show? I mean, you pretty much planned it in now after all them years working at it.
uh, I don't think I could ever, imagine like not doing this now. That it's been ingrained. There's been times where I've wanted to give up and wanted to quit and get a little frustrated and a little pissed off with it, but
Same here,
that's
same here.
that's everything in life. And even though this is still a hobby, I mean, some people have golf as a hobby, some people have fishing as a hobby, and
Too love
don't tell
fishing.
me you ain't never seen a pissed off golfer or a pissed off fisherman, because
I've been that pissed off fisherman when I lost my fish.
exactly, you get I mean, before I started doing the radio stuff, I used to go fishing every Sunday morning.
Oh
And
God, I love it.
and then I hooked up with Slider and started doing this radio stuff, and this is my Sunday morning now. Uh, but I told my wife, I spend either hundreds and up to thousands of dollars on fishing equipment and be gone at the lake every Sunday, or I could spend hundreds up to thousands of dollars on radio stuff and just sit in the other room.
It's for the love that you have for it, Chris. That you and I continue doing what we're doing. And
Right,
when you think there's no hope, ray of light shines down, and the man upstairs gives you what you want. Can't always
right.
get what you
Oh,
want, but you get what you need.
and I'll tell you what, because I was talking to my wife the other day, and I started doing radio stuff. I got bit by the radio bug in high school, and I remember my first ad on the radio was for a station out of Marshalltown, Iowa. And ever since then, I was itching to get back in. And a few years ago in Illinois, I started working at a venue that was one of the local radio DJs bars, and got in that way, and just moved down to Kentucky, and got a little lost for a minute, and then got introduced to Jim, and I'm back at it again.
Awesome, man. Very awesome.
And
Very awesome.
Asgard Radio is getting ready to April 2nd. We're celebrating 13 years on air, and I'll be with Asgard for 2 years.
Right on. And I got your personal number too, Chris, in case something happens. And I want to give you a shout out of what's happening, the outcome of the Super Unloaded. Mm.
Hell
I
yeah.
can't wait to, man, yeah, I can't wait to get out there and start playing. For everybody out there, meet the Scarecrow, huh? Come and take some pictures with me. All the
Hell
girls like
yeah.
to take.
You heard her. I heard her, so
Yeah.
I know you heard her. Check out the Scarecrow, people. Either way, it has been a blast hanging out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chronic Chris of AsgardRadio.com. We've been talking to the Scarecrow today. An awesome, amazing bass player. Feel free to check him out. Check him out on tour. Check him out on
Thank you so much, Chris.
Reverb Nation. Listen to the music. Get it in your heart, people.
Super Unloaded.
All right. Until we get together, ladies and gentlemen, keep it rocking, keep it rolling. You know what to do with it.
Peace.